Hey guys, welcome back to training for a marathon with mountains and a very special episode. Today we're going to be previewing the Yorkshire Three Peaks Fell Race route. I did 18.5 miles of the course on Wednesday with Jason to A, feel those big long climbs we can't get around home, and B, understand the course. I went out a little bit too hard trying to keep up with Jason, who is an exceptional runner, but it was a great all-round experience. I learned a lot, and as a result we're going to be adjusting my race day goals. More on that in a little bit. Let's begin the episode by discussing these knee niggles we talked about last week and what I've done to get them under control. So we've narrowed the knee niggles down to my IT band. The pain presented itself on the outside of my leg, but it was all coming from my hips. Unstable, weak, and long term we're going to do strength work to fix that and some proprioception work. In the short term, I managed to get it under control using trigger point release, massage, and just lots of TLC, but it's all been exaggerated in the last month by the change in shoes. You all know how many shoe reviews I've been doing for you guys, and that really hasn't helped. I've always had weak hips and issues in that area, but it's been under control because I've been in the same set of shoes, the Scott Supertrack RC, which seems to suit me quite well. We're going to be going back to that shoe for the Three Peaks and trying to get more consistent in training so that these issues don't keep coming back. But the good news is we've been pain-free this week, and today we've just done an 11-mile moderate effort. I'm really happy about that and just massively relieved that this isn't going to be a bigger issue. Anyway, let's move on to the reason you're all here, the Yorkshire Three Peaks preview. So on Tuesday night I did a moderate effort. This was to put a little bit of fatigue in the legs. So on Wednesday's recce I'd feel tired and have the edge off a little bit. Towards the end of the run I wanted to know what it'll feel like in the race itself. It's all purposeful practice, no different than me trying to get these big climbs in. Talking of climbs, we missed out the first one. That's 4 miles, about 1,500 foot of elevation gain going up to Pen-y-Ghent. It's the easiest part of the race and a lot of people overcook it. So I'm going to try and aim for about 36 minutes to the top of Pen-y-Ghent, which is what I predict I'll need to do to hold some in reserve and still do my time goals. We then have 9 miles of descent and flat effort to get to the second climb, which is Whernside. Now the popular Three Peaks walking route actually passes the viaduct and goes up a very long climb to the summit. On race day, we go under the viaduct to a farm and end up on private land. Obviously I couldn't recce this during training. Instead we ended up going past it to the descent of Whernside so we could see the actual full ascent, which is going to be so tough, guys. We've got to cross a stream, go through some farmland, pretty boggy, very grassy, rutty, just about runnable, but it's 2,000 foot of elevation gain all in all over a very, very short distance. Getting up to the summit itself is so ridiculously steep. It's going to be hands and knees job, and this is where a lot of people end up with cramp because they've overdone it in the first 14 miles of the race. So we need to save something in reserve for that. Once we get to the top of Whernside, we're invited with beautiful, stunning views. You can see both summits of the Three Peaks from here, and as you'll see from some of the footage, if the day is clear, it's going to be stunning. That very pronounced mountain you can see from the recce footage is actually Ingleborough. That's where we head to next. But to get there, we've got a very technical descent off Whernside. This is rutty, it's rocky, and it's got very uneven flags. You'd think that'd be a good thing, but you really can't get any rhythm whatsoever. It used to be that you could go off onto the moors, onto the grass parts of the course, and actually get a better cadence, but unfortunately that's not really possible anymore. It's too worn out. You have to stick to the path on most of that descent. Once you've descended Whernside, it's a short run to Chapel-le-Dale checkpoint, quite flat, and this is the most pivotal part of the race. It's 16 miles in, you've got 2 big climbs in your legs, and no matter what you've done to date, it is going to hurt from here on out. I will need to get my shit together, get some food in me, get some water down me, and prepare myself to push hard. As you'll see in just a second, this is precisely what happened during the recce. The next 2 miles, which is just a constant gradual climb towards Ingleborough, was torture. I was sweating buckets and I was really starting to feel it. This is probably what will happen on race day, but if I fail to run those 2 miles that are a constant climb, I will lose all my time goals. To have to walk over that distance is just going to destroy my race, so I need to make sure there's enough in my legs and that I'm prepared mentally to push through, because once you get to Ingleborough, it's actually quite a steep, short climb to the summit itself. And you are going to have to walk that regardless. After that, it's a really long 5 or 6 mile descent to the finish where you just need to get your legs turning over. So the effort all comes in the climb to Ingleborough. The only real negative of the final descent is the first couple of miles of it are very technical, very rutty, just like Whernside, but probably a bit worse. And if you've got tired legs that are getting dragged behind, you've got risk of falling over. But as you've seen from all this footage, absolutely stunning route, beautiful views, and an absolutely brutal course. I'm hoping to have 3 of my mates with me on the day. Nick, Finn and Bob are all gonna be bringing their bikes, following us around on the course, so they'll be able to get some footage as well as anything I managed to get. Should hopefully make for a really great race day video for you guys. Let's talk about goals though. I mentioned that they're going to change because of the recce. I think just pinning all my hopes on a sub 340 time, which is that A first class time that I was chasing, is a little bit unrealistic. If the weather turns, if it's a bit windy, that time will go out the window. If I have a bad day, likewise. The A goal is still going to be sub 340. I'd still love to get that time. I'm now starting to feel like that's really shooting for the stars, but we'll keep it there as an A goal. B goal is going to be sub 350. I feel that is very achievable for me, as long as the weather and the conditions and the day work out right. But as a C goal, just as a backup there, I always said if I could do the 3 peaks in sub 4 hours, I'd be absolutely amazed. So I think to be able to do that anyway would still be an achievement in itself. It is such a tough course. We've still got 3 or 4 weeks worth of training to go. I'm back up on the 3 peaks again in about 3 weeks time, and we've got a lot of really tough sessions to try and get ready. And I almost forgot the book of the week, guys. We're going to be going with How Bad Do You Want It by Matt Fitzgerald. He's written quite a few things. This one is such a great read. This goes into the psychology of athletics and how a lot of the time it can be mind over matter, showing some real life examples of massive athletic achievements that have all come from the mind. So definitely a great read, guys, and really inspirational. How bad do you want it? I'm sure that'll be relevant for me on race day, and we're going to leave the episode there, guys. So thank you so much for following along as always. Really appreciate all the comments, the likes, and the donation we got last week as well. Very, very kind of you all. So take care, and I will see you very soon with the next one.